Hey you guys, it's Missy, RNY and Mile High, and today is my 1 week post-op gastric bypass update. I don't know if you can tell I'm in a robe, and that is because I am still in the hospital. So I actually was discharged, well let me start over, start from the beginning. My surgery date was August 28th, 2017. My highest recorded weight was 244.2. The day of surgery, I was 229.6. And I have no idea what I weigh today because I'm in the hospital. So they discharged me Thursday. I went home. I did okay Thursday night. I did well enough. I felt good enough that we were talking about going to one of our little minor league baseball team games on Saturday. So we were talking about doing that and kind of getting out, walking around, exercise, and I could take water and all that stuff. So Friday I woke up and I wasn't feeling the greatest. I had a really hard time getting liquid in. Everything I tried didn't taste right, which I knew that I would have some different kind of taste buds. People had warned me about that, and I had done enough research that I knew things would taste differently, but nothing tasted right. I couldn't get anything down. I couldn't get a lot down at all. You know, they have a goal for me to get 64 ounces every day and 70 grams of protein, and I couldn't do it. I could barely get 24 ounces in. So Friday I kept trying, and I kept on top of my pain medication. I wasn't in a lot of pain. There was an area on my right side, kind of between where my drain was and where my incision is on that side, that hurt inside, but I just, I figured that it was pretty normal, and I kept on top of my pain medication, and it was manageable. I walked around the living room and the hallway and all of that a lot. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure there's not a nurse coming in. They're gonna look at me funny. Oh well. I did all of that, but I had a heck of a time trying to get fluids in, and I started to feel really, really gross and just not good at all. So I went to bed Friday night. I made sure I took my pain medicine and went right to bed, and I woke up every 30 minutes, and I was dying of thirst. So I would take a sip or two and then not be able to drink anymore. And that's how it went all night long. It was literally every 30, 45 minutes. So Saturday I got up with my husband. I told him I wasn't feeling great, and I felt kind of feverish and kind of chills, and I had been sent home with discharge instructions that said if my fever hit 101 or was over 101 to go to the emergency room. I didn't think it was over 101. I thought it was just a pretty low grade temp, but I did definitely feel feverish. So there again, I tried all day long to get fluids, and I couldn't even get 18 ounces down. I tried to drink protein, my Premier protein drink, and oh my gosh, I can't even tell you. I could not drink it. So that went on for quite a while, and then my fever started to get higher and higher, and so I took my temperature, and it was like, at first it was like 100.2, something like that. So we just wanted to keep an eye on it. I kept trying to push fluids. I would put, I had, for some reason, plain water didn't taste right, so I'd put a little mix-in, those little squeezy mix-in things, not a Mio, but something like that. And I put one flavor in there, and the first sip or two would taste okay, and then it would taste terrible. And I'd do a different flavor, and the first sip or two would taste okay, and then it'd taste terrible again. And I even said, okay, well, I'm going to go back to the very basics of what I did in the hospital and take these little 1 ounce cups and just try and get 4 of these an hour, which is what I had to get to be able to go home. So I just said, I can do that. I can drink that much water and try and get 4 of those in an hour. Just start, over, basically. Try to get myself rehydrated. Obviously, it didn't work. So at about 8 o'clock, I called the nurse advice line and said, these are my symptoms. I have pain. I feel really dizzy and nauseous, and I have a fever. At that point, my fever was like 100.7, and all of those things. And they said, we really want you to go to the ER. So my husband, we packed me and my son up, and we went back to the ER on post at Fort Carson. And they were great. I got right in. They triaged me right away and immediately decided they were going to at least do a saline lock. So if I needed an IV, they would have it done. And they wanted to take some blood. I think I've mentioned in a past video that I have Graves' disease. And so they wanted to make sure that my thyroid wasn't completely crazy. Also, so they did the thyroid blood work, and then they did like a regular CBC and all of those things that they would normally do. The problem was they couldn't get a vein. So they stuck me a couple of times in this arm. I don't know if you guys can see, I have a really bad bruise. There's my current IV port. But I have a really bad bruise. They stuck me here. They stuck me here. They stuck me here. And then on my hand. So they, bless their hearts, they felt so bad, and I just kept telling them it was okay. Obviously, I don't like being stuck that many times. They tried this side too. You can see where my other IV was. They tried a lot. They tried many different times, and finally one of the nurses was able to get a line, and they started fluids. They gave me two bags of fluids downstairs in the ER. They took me for a chest x-ray because I was having difficulty breathing, so they took me for that to make sure I wasn't having a pulmonary embolism. And then they took me, and I had 3 or 4 CT, different types of scans done at the CT machine. So then we were in the room, and the nurse came in, and I had asked for a little glass of water, and she said, you know, we don't want to give you anything, but here's just a tiny bit, take little sips, but until we know completely what's wrong, we don't want to give you anything else. I was fine with that. I took little sips of water, and she came in about 15 minutes later and said, don't drink anything else. So at that point I was like, great. It means they found something. We don't know what we're going to do yet. The ER doctor came in, and like I said, they were all wonderful. I mean, yes, they stabbed me 7 times. I think downstairs it was only 5. But I had to get stabbed again up here, but I'll tell you about that in a minute. But yes, they were really good. They tried so hard, and it was not their fault. So, but anyway, the ER doctor came in and said on your CT scan they found some little abscesses and a hematoma that they think is infected kind of in your abdomen. And I had told the doctor, and I think I told you guys too, it feels like inside like there's a ball of something, and I said maybe between the size of like a golf ball and a tennis ball, and I can feel it on the inside, but you can't feel it on the outside when you push. So it's kind of hard to explain, but he said that's exactly where it was, and that it was an infection, and my white blood count was elevated, and that Dr. Wilcox, my surgeon, wanted to start me on IV antibiotics. And so he said, you're staying, we're going to admit you. At that point, I sent my boys home, my husband and my son. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning at that point. So I sent them home. There's no point in them sitting here if I'm just going to be admitted. So we came upstairs. They got me upstairs. My IV wasn't taped down all the way, and I adjusted myself in the bed, and my IV came out. So they had to send another group of people in to get an IV going again. At that point, it took 3 more tries, but the 3rd one was the charm. They finally got an IV in. That was no fun, but I'm better now. It's weird because I feel pretty much the same. I'm still nauseous. I'm still in pain. I still have that ball, and when the surgeon came in today, he described it as about the size of a racquetball. And I said, yes, that's exactly what it feels like, kind of between a golf ball and a tennis ball size. And he said that was to be expected, that I would still be sore there for a while. So he told me Sunday when he came in that he wanted to do a couple of days of antibiotics and see if that helped, and brought everything down in terms of my white blood cell count. And that's what we've done. So he came in today and said, if you can tolerate fluids again, and you seem to be doing okay. Your white blood cell count has come back down a little bit. Then he said we can shoot for tomorrow to go home, which would be great. If not, they've been talking about having to go in and drain that hematoma, which I'd rather them not have to do anything else. But if that's the way to get rid of it, that's the way to get rid of it. So, that's my 1 week update. It's not a ton. When I came in and they gave me 2 bags of fluid, they did weigh me and I was 225.6. That was 2 days ago. And I have no idea what I weigh now because there's no scale. So I'll have to let you know on my 2 week update. Hopefully I won't be here still. But yeah, that's kind of what's been going on. Like I said, they've been really great. I don't have any complaints. I just don't feel that great. I've already had a couple moments where I'm like, why did I do this to myself? But I know that, there's a place for everything and there's a reason for everything, and things happen and people have complications, and this is just part of my story. So yeah, that's my 1 week post-op update. Trying to think if you guys have any advice about protein that is a lot of protein in a little amount. Like, for instance, they give me in the hospital, it tastes nasty, but let me see if I can find it to show you. They give me this in the hospital, and I can't remember how many grams of protein they said it was, but it tastes nasty. It tastes like really sweet apricot syrup. It's so bad, but I can get it down. So I think if I can find something like that, like the little small shots. So if you guys know anything like that, please comment below, tell me, whatever. If you are new to my channel, thanks for watching. Yeah, that's it. Talk to you later.